Your feet are incredible structures, then they have an incredible function in your body, not just to hold up your entire weight of your body, but also to make you be able to move, so walk and run and jump really efficiently. But when our feet break down, this can cause some really bad issues because it means that it interferes with our ability to be able to even move around. And plantar fasciitis is one of the most common foot conditions where you simply get pain underneath your foot that is painful when you move or walk around or you're just standing on the foot, and tends to be worse first thing in the morning when you make that first couple of steps. Now, this is caused because of the tissue that's underneath your feet, the sole of your feet, that become irritated to the point they become inflamed. When this happens, we want to ask the question, why did this occur in the first place? And in this video, I want to introduce to you a pair of shoes that I personally wear every day that can prevent something like this from occurring, that can prevent not just plantar fasciitis, but other types of foot conditions. But don't worry if you're currently suffering from plantar fasciitis, make sure you stick to the end where I'll show you how you can get out of it. And then you can use these shoes to make sure the issue doesn't come back, which can so easily happen. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven, if you haven't met me already, and I want to talk about a pair of shoes that I got just about a year ago. And if you've seen any of my videos and you've stuck to the end, you may have seen me talk about these, but I want to talk in a bit more detail why I wear them and how they can relate to foot problems. And these are the Vivobarefoot shoes. These aren't the only ones you can buy. There are many minimalist shoes that you can get, but these are particularly fantastic. I really like them, and I wear them any chance that I can get. Now, the funny thing is about these shoes is they're called barefoot shoes because what they're trying to do is mimic being barefoot whilst giving you the protection underneath so you can walk around outside without hurting the sole of your foot. Now, why is it that we want this? Why would you want shoes that don't offer any support than compared to the traditional shoe that we've been wearing for decades? The traditional shoe tends to have a thicker sole and it tends to have more of an arch support inside, so it maintains the shape of your foot. This is problematic, and the reason why is because the more support you give an area to the body, the less it has to do. And so if you're going to support that arch, for example, and maintain that position, the muscles that naturally do that will suddenly say, okay, well, now I don't need to do that, so I will just relax. And if those muscles relax, and that's happening every day the more that you're walking about and running or whatever, then they're going to get weaker and weaker, because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. Also, with a thicker sole, you've got more cushioning. It's more of an unnatural shoe. Now, when this shoe is particularly good is when you do need a bit of support. If you do have a foot injury, if you're suffering with plantar fasciitis, then actually during that period, you're much better to wear this shoe. However, if you've got good foot function, or you don't have pain, but you're looking to improve your foot function, this is where this shoe comes in. This is a thin sole, it's a flat shoe, and it's a really flexible shoe, so it allows your foot to do what it's supposed to do. It has no arch support, which means your foot has to work to be able to hold your foot in the right position, and it allows your foot to do what it's supposed to do, and the more that it does this, the better it can get at doing it. Now the question is, how does this relate to plantar fasciitis? Well, plantar fasciitis is caused by that connective tissue being irritated to the point of inflammation. Now, why this occurs, for many different reasons, but basically it comes down to a dysfunction of the foot and the lower leg. And one of the things that can happen is if you've got a tightness down the back of your leg, so your hamstrings and your calf, and then that can go and pull on the bottom of your foot. So that whole posterior chain, the back of the leg, can get so tight it pulls on the bottom of your foot and irritates it. The other thing that can cause it is a weak foot, and this is primarily where this shoe is going to come from. Now, weakness can also cause tightness, so they are both related, but a weak foot would mean that you're more likely to have a flat foot. If you've got a flat foot, you can see that how the bottom of the foot is going to stretch. That's going to stretch the tissue underneath that foot and cause more irritation to that area. It's just going to allow that foot to not function properly. And if something doesn't function properly for long enough, there's only so far the body can compensate until it causes the pain. So what I would recommend is, if you've got plantar fasciitis right now, stick to your most comfortable shoe, particularly the shoe that's going to decrease that pain. Once that pain starts to decrease, and I'll show you in just a moment how you can do that, then switch to this shoe, but do it gradually. If you're not used to the shoe, it can be quite tiring and fatiguing to the muscles because they're not used to being used. So just use them for short stints and then increase and gradually increase how much you use them. You'll find that your foot and your lower leg will become stronger and stronger, and you're much less likely to develop an issue in the future. Now, how can you correct plantar fasciitis? Well, the first thing you can do at home, and I'll link you to a video I did a few years ago on this, is to stretch the back of your leg as well as your foot. So you want to increase the flexibility of your hamstring and of your calf, and ideally of the bottom of your foot. If you can reduce that tension, you'll reduce the tension to the bottom of the foot, which then will decrease the pain over time. That's one thing, easy thing you can do straight away at home, and the exercise I go through in the video that you'll see at the end of this video. The other thing I would really recommend is to go see someone like a chiropractor who can assess the function of your foot, your knee, your hip, and your low back, because any dysfunction in the joints and the mechanics of those areas can contribute to the problem. And I see this in clinic all the time, and it really, in most cases, is not a difficult issue to resolve if you find someone that knows what they are doing. So I highly suggest doing both of those things, and then once you're out of pain, then get some of these shoes. And as I always say at the end of my videos, there you can get 10% of these specific shoes in the description below. There are, of course, other shoes you can also buy, but I highly recommend this one specifically if you want to do that. And of course, you can just simply go around barefoot, but you just got to be careful that you're not going to hurt the bottom of your foot. So hopefully that has been useful. Check out this video now on how you can fix plantar fasciitis, or at least manage the symptoms, reduce the symptoms. I'll see you over there. Make sure you do subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Thanks for watching.